All right, it is Reaction Monday. Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you. I'm just going to get right into it. I'm a man of my word, so here's how we're starting up breakfast. You can see this. It's the nasty part of the ACV. You see when there's like the little stuff at the bottom and it's like floating and it looks like cinnamon or dirt.
Dude, shake it up.
I said if the Texans lost, I would take the 8 ounces of ACV. So I'll get it out of the way. I'm not looking forward to this, but I am a man of my word.
Man of his word, man of the people, and an ACV enjoyer extraordinaire.
God, that is a lie. Oh.
And I'm sure it smells wonderful over there.
So you can take it away. You can take it away. I'm going to have to gather myself after this, but yeah. This one's for missed throws, missed tackles, missed blocks, and all of the above. Cheers to you people.
For the blocks and the throws that they missed that made all of us really, really pissed.
All right.
Look at that. What a champion.
Go ahead.
What a champion. What a champion. What a guy. What a way to gut it out, unlike the Houston Texans who couldn't gut it out last night when they simply needed to make a few plays in this game, a few more plays on offense or a few more plays on defense, and they'd have at least one win on the season. But nope, they came up short yet again in a very familiar way that had become the standard for how they played in 2024, and we were afraid was going to leak into 2025. Well, yet again, it has leaked into 2025. And as we talked about it last week, if the defense isn't perfect, the offense doesn't have enough to go out there and win you a football game. And that's exactly what happened on Monday Night Football against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had a defense that had a better performance in key moments. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers did. They had an offense that had a quarterback that just gutted everything out and overcame all of these issues that he was dealing with to put them in the end zone when it mattered the most. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers walk out of Monday Night Football with a gutsy win because the Texans just couldn't get a few tiny things here and there throughout the game right, and then they got some absolutely big things wrong in this game as well. And again, it feels all too familiar to 2024 here in the start of 2025.
Yes, there's a lot of places that we can go with this L, and I want to start with the obvious. Okay, the offensive line's not great. Okay, the offensive line's not great. We all agree they're not good. But Tampa Bay's offensive line wasn't good either. And Tampa Bay had a quarterback who, when his team needed him to, he made plays. CJ Stroud did not do that. There are specific plays that you can point to where CJ Stroud did not do that. And there were also a lot of plays where CJ Stroud had all the time in the world and he missed guys. There was the throw, the throw where Watson didn't have a chance in hell on the Texans' second drive on third down. There was that throw. There was the skip to Dalton Schultz. There was the throw after,
which was behind the sticks, by the way.
Yeah, it was third down. There was the play after the pump block where Xavier Hutchinson, at the very least, is going to be inside the red zone, and you're going to have a chance to take the lead instead of settling for a field goal with about 6 minutes left. There was the sequence that we're definitely going to get into where they went shotgun, and D'Amico Ryans even called it out, and there was an uncatchable ball to Nico Collins. So I think it's okay to say that better quarterback play perhaps wins the Texans this game because we saw it on the other side. And no matter what excuse you want to make for CJ Stroud, Baker Mayfield's dealing with the same thing. And we've got to hold CJ Stroud to that type of standard. We got to at least hold him. We've got to at least be able to hold CJ Stroud at this point to a Baker Mayfield standard. Because Baker Mayfield, even when the pocket's collapsing, it just seems like Baker Mayfield, it seems like he just has a better sense and a better feel up there of everything going on. CJ Stroud doesn't have Christian Kirk. Baker Mayfield doesn't have Chris Godwin. CJ Stroud has a bad offensive line. Baker Mayfield has a bad offensive line. CJ Stroud has a guy who's never been a play caller before. This is the third year in a row Baker Mayfield has had a first-year play caller. So, like, all these excuses that we make, we've got to stop doing that, and we got to quit. We got to acknowledge what the surroundings are while also acknowledging that CJ Stroud is part of the reason they lost this game. If you have realistic standards for CJ Stroud, especially with what you saw on the other side, I think it's okay to at least acknowledge that the quarterback play wasn't great. There's a lot of other factors that we'll get into as well, but I think CJ Stroud has to be better than he was. And maybe it's unfair. Maybe he's asked to do more than a lot of guys are, perhaps. But I think it was a mirror image of the situation he's going through on the other sidelines. And that guy was able to make the plays when they mattered, and CJ Stroud was not.
And he's only a few plays away from changing the outcome of the game. He hits one Nico Collins pass in the end zone. He hits Justin Watson, and they put 7 up to tie the game instead of putting just 3 up on that second drive. There's just small things that add up over the course of the game. I mean, come on. He had 13 completions in this game. It's not good enough. It's not good enough from the quarterback, and he's not an elevator. He's not an elevator right now. In 2023, he felt like a guy that could elevate guys around him. He's not that guy right now. He needs to be picked up. He needs the situation to be better, and then maybe he can access some of that ability where he can transform guys and bring them up with him. But right now, he needs help as every much as the team needs to help him. He has to get help to get to a certain level, and then maybe he can showcase some of his abilities. But he's not elevating guys right now, and he's messing up stuff that most quarterbacks are getting right on a week-in, week-out basis, and it's nowhere near good enough to overcome some of the hiccups and issues they have throughout the rest of this offense and the rest of this team. It
is Reaction Monday. Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Let's go to the Reaction Monday. It's really Tuesday, but I still call it Reaction Monday. So forgive me if my days are a little off. You ain't never hate. Swarm. Preston says CJ Stroud trash until otherwise. Honestly, he have no confidence in himself or his team around him. I mean, the other thing that is very, very unfair, I think, because I think Baker Mayfield might be a GOAT in this category, is I hate playing this game, but it's obviously a thing because CJ's acknowledged it himself. The body language between the two guys, like in intense situations, it's night and day. I mean, you got Baker Mayfield jawing with CJ Gardner-Johnson. You got Baker Mayfield going up to Will Anderson after he's celebrating, saying, "Hey, I got the first down." There just always seems to be a lot of urgency, and CJ just looks at times looks like he's not even having fun. And he said last week he wasn't having fun. So,
it only took 8 or 9 weeks last year for it to not be fun, and it's already not fun for CJ. And the confidence looks shot. The confidence looks shot on the field. The confidence looks shot at the podium. The confidence isn't there.
May 94 says, "Good morning, y'all. Spankies was fun. If we go undefeated on our noon games, we'll be all right this season." Yeah, they gotta beat the bad teams. You can beat the bad teams and get in the playoffs. As far as Spankies goes, we'll be back at the Spankies Sharpstown location on the 26th. So if you missed the first one, we would love to see you out there. Blaster Lord says Texans never win the division 3 years in a row. Do you think that cycle continues? They still got a chance to win the division. They still got a chance to win the division for sure. They still got a very good chance to win the division.
It's not like I know Indianapolis had a really nice start to their season. They do not strike me as a team that's going to be running away with the AFC South.
Jesse F says, "Here's my contribution for Landry showing more toughness than the Texans last night." Don't know about all that, but sure.
Yeah, you gutted it out. That's for sure.
Dominic says the swarm mentality sucks. It consists of 6 to 7 guys swarming the ball and not being able to tackle. I hate CJ Stroud more than my mother-in-law. That is hard because your mother-in-law wasn't even at your wedding. So that's tough.
That it did feel like just a small defensive criticism. It felt like the Texans' aggressiveness in a couple of different ways was used against them with the way that Tampa operated last night. And then sometimes their aggressiveness just took them out of plays And their blitzing never got home nearly as well as Tampa's blitzing did.
David Herring said, "Why is Agumbawale on the field? Please, God, no more." Look, I think it's very the Nick Caley thing is complicated, and we'll get into it. But there is something that he does that is very, very, very clearly Bill O'Brien like, and it's absolutely frustrating when you consider how much this team could use playmaking. So Jaden Higgins this year has 4 targets. 2 of those targets have gone for 20 plus yards. So he's shown an ability, even in a small sample size, to make plays. Here's the other thing. Jaden Higgins and Justin Watson, the snap counts are damn near similar. Remember when Bill O'Brien used to say the rookies don't know anything? Yesterday, Higgins played 43% of the snaps. Justin Watson played 41% of the snaps. Woody Marks, it's abundantly clear that he's better than Dare Agumbawale in every area, by the way. He's a better pass blocker, too. He played 27% of the snaps. Dare Agumbawale played 20% of the snaps.
Dare Agumbawale had some of the worst 10-snap game I've ever seen in my life.
And Jalen Knoll played less than any receiver. He's basically Braxton Berrios. He's basically a punt returner at this point.
I mean, he doesn't look dynamic with the ball in his hands or anything.
Here's the other thing.
How hard could it be to get the ball in his hands?
Why? If you're going to go shotgun from the 1 and your quarterback has to make a catchable throw, doesn't Dare Agumbawale tell the other team that we're automatically throwing here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, does anyone really think that they're going to run the ball with Dare Agumbawale in that situation? So that was confusing. I don't know what the Agumbawale thing is. They have clear favorites, and you want to go back to Bill O'Brien. This is Alfred Blue like. It's actually worse. This like Nick Caley with his personnel decisions, or maybe it's not him, but whatever it is, it's very Bill O'Brien like. Mushroom 713 says unadjustable offense. Buck started blitzing. Why not counter with quick passes to Marks like at the start of the game instead of plays that take long? So they had early on, they had a screen pass to Chubb, and they had a pass
yards.
Yeah, 27. And then they had a pass to Woody Marks for 37. That's 64 of the 207 yards on the first few drives that CJ Stroud threw for. And we didn't see Woody Marks in the pass game again. It's insane, Cody. Like, it's not,
it wasn't even a gimmick or a gadget or something. Woody Marks just went out there, beat the pants off of the defender with expert route running, and was wide ass open, and they got him the football. And they didn't do that again the rest of the game. It's
pathetic. And the Woody Marks thing is a joke. It's actually a pathetic joke. It's embarrassing. Like Nick Caley, Nick Caserio, D'Amico Ryans, they look dumb. Like there's no other way to say it. I would love to put some nuance on it. I would love to they just look dumb in this situation. You just look dumb. You look like a high school coach who wants to play the senior, even though you know that the freshman or sophomore is better. And here's what's crazy about it. It's laid out on a tee for you. Your eyes tell you what Woody Marks is capable of doing, catching the ball. The data, the statistical production that he had in college shows it, and you traded up for him. And you're having him basically have an equal carry share with a guy who fumbled away the game last week and who damn near got your quarterback killed 3 times. And all the while, Woody Marks has as good of a blitz pickup as you'll ever see. So they just look stupid here. Like there's no nuance. There's no he needs to figure it out. You just look stupid at this point, putting Dare Agumbawale on the football field as much as Woody Marks. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's absolutely idiotic. Like I understand if you think that Higgins and Knoll need to figure some stuff out, but when this guy has his super skill, and the super skill can actually help your offensive line, and we were calling for this before the season, we saw it, and then it's not out there. The Dare Agumbawale Woody Marks thing, they just look stupid. There's no other way to say it. They look dumb.
At 8:27 in the second quarter, CJ Stroud threw a pass to Nick Chubb. It got 2 yards. That was the last time they targeted a running back in the game. In the second quarter. After that, those first 2 drives, the majority of the offense coming from passes to the running back. They threw one more pass to a running back the rest of the game, and they didn't throw any passes to the running back in the second half. That's totally unacceptable. That's totally unacceptable.
It's not, and it's we're talking about Dare Ogunbowale, man. You know, part of the reason they like Dare Ogunbowale because he's an overachiever. Overachievers have ceilings, man. Like,
I wish he'd achieve a block.
Dude, it's not. He shouldn't be out there. He shouldn't be out there. Period. He shouldn't be out there. I would rather have Dameon Pierce at this point. Like, make Dare Ogunbowale the healthy scratch. You have enough special teamers. He shouldn't be out there. British Brooks, I bet you British Brooks can pass block. I mean,
at least he'll try.
He plays like a linebacker. I bet you British Brooks can pass block. He might be able to get you a yard. It's embarrassing at this point. And you're playing favorites, and this is the NFL. You don't need to be playing favorites. Jesse says, Cody, is it time to bring in the young gun Mertz?
Well, you know, it's a good thing they've got the succession plan ready already. Davis is signed for next year. Mertz will be ready at the end of that. You know, it's great.
C713 says, give Davis Mills a shot.
No, I want this. If it's going to go bad, I want it to go as bad as possible. And if it's going to get right, CJ needs to be playing.
Rich Boy Jay says, Mertz Mafia will rise. What have you created?
CJ Bledsoe?
Dom with the 2-piece. He says, double super chat. I've gone from don't pay CJ Stroud to does CJ Stroud finish the year as QB1? He is a tough watch, and I hate his demeanor. He's not alone in that. It kind of feels that way.
CJ Stroud, he probably hasn't had anywhere close to this level of adversity in his football career in many, many years. Because, yeah, I know they had a rough patch here or there at Ohio State, but he walked into the league and thought it was, you know, not nearly as hard as it was going to be in 2023, looked really good. And then 2024 was tough. And then the start of 2025 has been about as tough as it could get. So he's going to have to figure out how he operates and how he approaches things, how he needs to pull himself up from his bootstraps, because this is probably the first real extended rocky period of time he's had playing football.
It is Reaction Monday. We'll get back to the super chats in a sec. Outside of CJ Stroud, the offense, all that, what do we make of D'Amico? Because I have a real problem with a couple of things in this game, and we'll get to the big moments, but there's a couple of things that I have a problem with the entire way in which they functioned. Because when D'Amico goes up to the podium and he says, well, that's how the NFL is. You make plays. Typically, you get the ball. You have a couple minutes left, and you have a chance to win the game. You coach like that. Like, you coach like that in the second quarter. In the second quarter, at the end of the half, they had no interest in scoring. I know CJ Stroud ended up getting it past midfield, the first play out of the 2-minute warning. But Woody Marks busts a 7-yard run, and they just take it down to the 2-minute warning. And you can see the tempo. They didn't seem like they were interested in scoring. They damn sure weren't interested in scoring a touchdown. So you're playing all 4 quarters as if your approach is it's going to be a one-possession game. We're going to figure it out. And I know a lot of, if not most, NFL games go that way, but it's also the way you coach. Here's the other thing. I know it's a long shot, but we've talked about this 2023 game a hell of a lot more than I'm really interested in doing. The Texans got the ball with 40 seconds left, and they ended up winning after the Bucs scored. It was something like that.
Yeah, like 38 seconds or something like that.
So the Bucs get past midfield with 50 seconds left. The Texans have
in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and the Texans have 3 timeouts. D'Amico Ryans never uses a timeout to stop the clock. He actually called 2 timeouts when the clock was already stopped, so he could gather his defense around and, you know, try to gas him up. He didn't do anything to even try to counter the clock. He let it tick. There was one point where they got inside the 20 and they let like 20 seconds go off the clock.
Yeah, it was 34 seconds, and then Baker Mayfield threw it in the middle of the field to Mike Evans, and I looked at you looked at me, and we were like, call a timeout. And it was funny because some of the Buccaneers guys in front of us, they're covering Tampa. They're calling for a timeout because they wanted Bowles to use the timeout. But 34 seconds when Mike Evans caught that ball on the 7-yard line.
He called 2 timeouts when the clock was already stopped. He had no interest in saving the clock. So he didn't even give them a chance. I mean, he was basically just, it's going to come down to my defense. It's going to come down to my defense. Like that.
That is so terrible.
That was bad. I mean, as soon as they get near midfield, you got to figure some stuff out. That was a really, 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 really bad decision by D'Amico Ryans. And the way that they play at the end of half shows that they think that it's going to be a close game.
I don't care if you have the 2000 Ravens. You've got to leave your offense a couple of moments there. And yeah, you give Tampa, okay, I'm sure his pushback would be, well, if we call timeouts, then we give Tampa chances to set things up. Well, you trust your defense, trust them to go make the play. And if they don't make the play, Kaimi can hit from 60 inside.
Your first priority.
You don't need that many yards. Like, you had to give yourself a chance to win the football game.
Your first priority is the clock in that situation. Not let's get my defense rested. Let me get a look. Let me figure it out. Your first priority is the clock there, coach. So with 50 seconds left, you stop. Maybe that makes Tampa Bay have to hurry up a little bit. So that's your first priority. Here's a couple of key moments I want to get to as we get to the key moments. So there was a play early on where Azeez Al-Shire went stride for stride with Emeka Egbuka, and Baker Mayfield threw him a bunny, and he ended up dropping the interception, and Tampa Bay responded. They ended up scoring the game. I thought that was big because they didn't take the gift that Baker Mayfield laid out. Props to Azeez Al-Shire for going stride for stride with Emeka Egbuka, but that was unfortunate that he was not able to make that interception. That was one key moment. The next key moment, and they didn't really catch this on the broadcast, but I think we probably knew better here. When Egbuka scored his touchdown, Charlie Heck tripped Kalen Bullock. Like, go back and watch it. They said, oh, what a block by Charlie Heck. No, Charlie Heck did what Charlie Heck does. He whiffed, and then he stepped his foot out and leg whipped Kalen Bullock. And that's what spurred Egbuka into the end zone. Like, and it was right in the middle of the field. But you heard people say, "Oh, look at Charlie Heck going out there." Yeah, look at him karate kick him. Go back and look at it. It's right there to see. He trips Kalen Bullock. So that led to the touchdown. Okay, if they caught it on the broadcast, forgive me. I didn't really. I
saw him showing it as a replay after the touchdown, but I don't give a damn if Troy and Joe catch it. The Stripes got to catch that.
Yeah. No doubt. Then you go forward in the game, the end of the second quarter. The Texans had no interest in scoring. Like they had no interest in scoring. If anything, once Woody Marks busts a 7-yard run and you're heading towards the 2-minute warning, run an aggressive ass play right there to where the clock stops at the 2-minute warning, and maybe you can get something going. Now, I did like how CJ used his legs once again, but they were unable to score on that. So I thought that was a big play.
You got the ball back with 2:43 and 4 potential clock stoppages, and the only one they used was the 2-minute warning after the Woody Marks run. Like that. The first drive for the Texans in the third quarter. And I think some plays are just a little bit more symbolic. And this is the fan media type POV. This isn't necessarily the coach players. I don't know that they really care. But if you really want to beat down a fan base, then have someone that most people think shouldn't play fumble away a game, and then have him out there when you don't think he should be out there and just completely get his ass kicked and get the quarterback's ass kicked too. That was how they handled the first third down of the second half with Dare Ogunbowale out there. And I think that's where fans start booing. That's where you lose like the Southern hospitality Houston crowd, where they just kind of turn on you with stuff like that. Yeah. Tyke Smith bullied him. Just Total bully ball of Dare Ogunbowale.
Then you had a missed field goal by Tampa Bay, which was a big play. Then you had finally a Higgins sighting on 2nd and inches. This was his 4th target of the season and his 2nd reception over 20 plus yards. Jaden Higgins. So you get that, and they end up moving the chains. And then you have the 4th and goal situation. CJ Stroud doesn't even give Nico a chance to go up and get the rock on the 4th.
But I think the run play was a really bad run play too. Like, I think that's a key moment as well. They ran it out of shotgun sideways, and Vita Vea sniffed it out immediately because he's one of the best run-stopping defensive tackles in the entire league. And they basically made it on easy mode for him to go in there and make a play.
Well, for me, I get that Vita Vea is Vita Vea, but last week I saw them run a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2, whatever it was. I just wonder if maybe like you just throw it out because Vita Vea is there. Like you don't even try, you don't even attempt it. He can read which way to go. It's just, I guess that's not a thing. And the other thing is this is the other frustrating thing. And we've talked a lot about this. We've talked about Nick Chubb's use a lot. If there's ever a time where Nick Chubb's useful, it's probably at the 1 yard line. Like, I mean, in all seriousness, like if Nick Chubb's going to be on your football team, of all the situations you'd probably like Nick Chubb in, it would probably be on the 1 yard line. At least have him be, because he's a good pass protector. At least have him out there instead of Dare Ogunbowale, to where the defense at least respects the guy that's in the backfield. Going shotgun is one thing that a lot of people find foolish. I get it. I understand it. They probably trusted CJ a little bit too much in that situation. But you basically might as well play with 10 if Dare Ogunbowale is out there, because there's no threat that he's going to do anything. And the way that he's blocking, there's no threat that he's going to block anyone. And he might get in CJ's way. So if next time, if you want to at the 1 yard line put Dare in, just go with 10. Yeah, you have a better chance because he's not going to get in CJ's way, and CJ can at least see the guy coming. And maybe the defense will not just completely dismiss the possibility of a run. Like there's nothing to be accomplished with Dare Ogunbowale in that situation. Like it's actually insane to me that, like, it's weird that Dare Ogunbowale is playing 1/5 of the snaps, but it's really weird that on the 1 yard line, Dare Ogunbowale is the guy you put out there. That's just crazy. Like, I would rather have British Brooks out there.
Yeah, you can go get your yard if you have to.
It's actually insane.
Yeah. It's bad. It's really bad. It's bad by the offensive coordinator. It's bad by the general manager to not have an option. Oh wait, you do have that option. You traded up for him in the 4th round to go get him, and you won't use him. And then your point about Nick Chubb is well taken. Like, you should have him in there, and when you're gonna run him, don't run him sideways out of shotgun. But you line him up.
But he still fought pretty hard there. Like, honestly, that was the other thing about that run. I think most backs on the team lose yards. He did fall forward. Like, if you,
I have zero criticism of Nick Chubb in that moment.
No, that's
zero.
what I'm saying. But if there's ever a time like that, you have Nick Chubb. He squats 9,000 pounds, whatever they talk about. He falls forward. Like, if you're ever going to have Nick Chubb, and that seems like the dream situation. So I don't understand that, but I guess when you can trust CJ to make a throw, or you can trust Dare Ogunbowale to go out there, I guess you got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, they ran sideways. Vita Vea read it the whole way through. Laken Tomlinson provided nothing on the play, and Vea goes in there and just makes the play and tackles Chubb short and line him up behind the quarterback, CJ under center, turn that thing around and let Chubb slam into the offensive line and that defensive line and get in there because he can churn his legs instead of running him sideways and let him get tackled from the side.
It's
by
weird.
400-pound monster. It's terrible. And then you know what happens when that doesn't work? Run the QB sneak. And then when that doesn't work, maybe you want to throw it. Maybe mix in a play action, not this stupid
run the ball
rollout thing.
Run the ball. Kay says, but also if you're going to throw the ball, make it catchable. You know, it kind of you do got to kind of throw that in there. Kay says she was in the He or she. I'm don't know. I was in the bullpen and the crowd was awesome. At least same. Yeah, I thought the crowd was solid as well. I thought it was a good atmosphere. I would agree with you on that. AK says if the Texans start 0-3, as much as we love D'Amico, it's time to clean house. Jeez. Especially
you want Frank Ross to be the head coach? You want to fire D'Amico week 3 and have Frank Ross be the head coach?
Only way to see if CJ is good is a new OL and an offensive-minded head coach who has time management ability. So he wants to fire D'Amico.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Do what you like. You need a solution. Oh, an offensive-minded head coach. Well, who? If you're firing a guy 2 games into the season after he's won the division back-to-back years, you got to give me a guy. You got to give me a name. I'm like, with an offensive-minded coach going to come in here and that's going to fix C.J. Stroud? No, I think you're
letting C.J. Stroud off the hook too much if you keep just blaming everything else. No one's asking C.J. Stroud to be elite. You're just asking it. You're asking him to be better than he's been. He's been statistically the last 12 games the worst starting quarterback in football, like in pretty much every measurable. Completion percentage, he's at the bottom. Yards, he's at the bottom. He's near the bottom of almost every category in the last 12 games, CJ Stroud. So is that just all surroundings? And the one thing I'm tired of hearing about is first year play caller. Baker Mayfield's had it 3 years. They changed the offense for CJ Stroud. The offensive line's different. There's opportunities there. He's got to be better. Preston, again, I understand staying with the run, but we kept running teeth of the defense, run, stretch, or wide zone. They really didn't run a ton, honestly.
They didn't. When they did run, they didn't run very well. I mean, Chubb got 43 yards on the ground, 25 came on the touchdown run, and 8 came on another rush. So that's 1 yard per carry on the rest of them.
Team player says, after a terrible night's sleep, I believe we suck again. Yeah, we'll see. The other key moment that I had.
They definitely suck right now. We'll see how far away from suck they can get, but they suck right now.
So there was momentum when Christian Harris got that psycho penalty. I don't know what he was doing. He just looked like a nut job out there. He's barely playing.
Well, the guy's celebrating when he ripped the guy down by his face mask. Like,
I don't know what that was.
Total bozo situation.
But then the Texans did get the stop, and Jakob Johnson got a block punt. But after that, CJ Stroud's accuracy continues to be an issue. And this was where CJ was almost at his worst, and he could have had his rock bottom moment, but Tampa Bay didn't take the gift. So you had the missed throw to Hutchinson, which would have got them in the red zone and given them a chance to take the lead. Mm-hmm. And then you had the ball thrown right into the chest of David, and he drops it. And the Texans end up having to kick a field goal to cut the lead to 1 when they yet again rely on their defense. Now, then we have, and we got to be fair here, we have a punt return from Knoll, 53-plus yards. Probably should have been a block in the back.
Yes.
So
they had a flag on the field and picked it up.
It probably should have been a block in the back by Tremont Smith. Instead, Knoll gets it into Tampa Bay territory. And then Nick Chubb scores. Do you wonder if Tampa Bay, if the Texans should have went down on that Nick Chubb situation?
No.
Just score in that situation. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're on the other side. If you're on the other side of the 2-minute warning, perhaps you entertain it, but we just saw them fail to get a yard. I mean, in a perfect situation, maybe he goes down inside the 5, it goes down to the 2-minute warning, and then you score or whatever. But yeah, in that situation, beggars can't be choosers. So you end up scoring. You make it to where Tampa Bay has to get in the end zone.
Yeah. They had 4 clock stoppages. They had 4 clock stoppages left. And if you hadn't got immediately sacked on the 2-point conversion and you put a 2-point conversion on the board, then
or
Tampa's either got to go be risky and try to win it, or they tie it and you still get another chance.
Or you have a little bit of urgency and you decide to actually like show some urgency at the end of the first half and it doesn't matter whether they score or not. You still win the game. So it kind of goes back to that. So,
well, Laken Tomlinson fell on his face and they got sacked out of field goal range. And in addition to their inability to hurry up and make something happen. So they couldn't put any points on the board there. He's awful. He's so god awful.
Yeah. I mean, we heard the whispers of that. So here's the other thing I want to touch on the final defensive drive. And I think of all the things that we just spoke on, I think this is going to be what drives D'Amico crazy because he is a defensive-minded head coach, and there's a lot of focus on the defense. That was a bad display by Henry To'oTo'o, man. That was a bad display. 2 plays by Henry To'oTo'o. First one, 4th and long. If he just keeps his feet under him instead of not wrapping up, which is kind of one of his things, the game's over. And the Texans have all the momentum. It's 4th and long. They collapse the pocket. D'Amico actually drew up a perfect defense to where, at the very least, if you at least use your hands and your body, you take Baker Mayfield down. Henry To'oTo'o doesn't do that, and Baker Mayfield ends up moving the chains. Then you have a dump off, and Henry To'oTo'o doesn't wrap up, and they get an extra 12, 13 yards, and they get closer to the end zone. That was a bad run for Henry To'oTo'o on that final drive. Really bad.
Yeah, I don't know what he's seeing or thinking there on the 4th down. Like, it's chaos around Baker Mayfield. The one thing that can save them is if that guy escapes and turns into a runner and goes and gets a bunch of yards. And instead of just breaking down and being ready to get the guy, To'oTo'o goes in for a kill shot, misses the kill shot, and then Mayfield's running wild and free throughout the field and gets more than enough yards for the first down.
Yeah, you just gotta slow that down. You just completely got to slow that down. There's no doubt about that. And that was pretty much all she wrote.
There were so many moments where
the timeouts too. I mean, just use them, man. Stop the clock, sir.
There were so many moments where the Texans' aggressiveness worked against them from a defensive perspective. I mean, the Buccaneers all night long, or from a run perspective, were just content to let Will Anderson fire off the ball and just let him fire into no man's land. And typically, Will's a guy that can help you out a little bit on the ground. Guys were bouncing off of Bucky Irving. They weren't wrapping up. They were getting blown off the line by a patchwork backup offensive line of Tampa Bay. Like, this not a good night for the defense when that's the side of the ball that you're supposed to lean on, and then they come up short, and if they just not tried to do too much, they probably would have been enough.
Yep. So those are the big plays. Let's get to the Kings of the Turf, brought to you by Texans Turf. Texans Turf, they did my home. We have a lot of viewers, listeners who got their home done, and they know what I know. It's the best. I shopped around before, and Dan and his team took care of me. Whether it's a putting green, playing surface, they get rid of the mud. It looks great. It feels great. It's easier to clean up than grass. It's less itchy. You can walk out there barefoot in the fall. It's a beautiful feeling. And they can build it around your trees. They can do whatever they want. And they do it with integrity. They don't hold you to some sort of limits. They will work with you when it comes to financing. They have the military discount. And I was a customer before I became partners with Texans Turf. And we're very honored to have the best in the game riding with us here on not just Reaction Tuesday, but throughout the season. So shout out to Dan and his squad. Without further ado, Cody Stutes has the Kings of the Turf. Can't wait to hear this.
Who were the Kings of the Turf for the Houston Texans? Let's start with Danielle Hunter. They definitely lose this game by a wider margin if Danielle Hunter doesn't have the game that he had. He chased down Baker Mayfield and forced Mayfield to fumble at one point. He had a big sack at one point to put the Buccaneers way behind the sticks. And Danielle Hunter played his ass off and looked really good in this one. So he's one of the kings of the turf for the Houston Texans. Sheldon Rankins, the only defensive tackle that played worth a damn last night for the Houston Texans. He's one of the kings of the turf for the Houston Texans. I mean, just good pass rush, was in on a couple of, run plays here and there, but he's far more consistent than anybody else they have in the defensive tackle room. And he also had that sack of Mayfield. He cleaned things up. So he's a king of the turf for the Houston Texans. Nico Collins, king of the turf for the Houston Texans. Great catch on the sideline. I mean, really impressive stuff from him.
9 targets. How many of those 9 targets were catchable?
3. The 3 he caught, probably. So Nico Collins, he's a king of the turf. Flies down the sideline. Incredible catch on the sideline. Great job by him. And then the special teams version of Jakob Johnson is a king of the turf.
What about the offensive version of Jakob Johnson?
I never want to see him on offense ever again. But the special teams version of Jakob Johnson
play works a little bit sometimes.
I never want to see Jakob Johnson on offense again. The special teams, Jakob Johnson, you were a king of the turf for that punt block there that set the Texans up in, already kind of fair field goal range. And thank God they were already there because the offense did everything they could to go backwards and not gain any yards. And Kaimi came in there and actually put points on the board. So those are your kings of the turf for the Houston Texans.
All right, there we go. That's the kings of the turf. All right, let's go position by position in a second. But first, let's go back to the super chat. People got a lot of stuff to say.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm. Little Blue Band says, would a top 10 – oh, my God, we're talking draft. Would a top 10 pick season be the worst thing? Sorry, hate to be that guy. But we can get alignment and we can officially heat up D'Amico and Nick's seat. Yes, well, I do not want them to have a top 10 pick. I want them to compete and make the playoffs.
Here's the problem with that line of thinking. These guys are going to pick a lineman and it's going to be worth a damn right off the bat. Come on. Like you've seen how they've built this offensive line, the way they've assessed things, and there's zero faith. There's negative faith. There's negative faith in these guys to pick offensive linemen, either guys that have been in the league or guys that are coming out of college and have any sort of confidence that those guys are going to be good football players. So no, I don't want that. I want them to go kick the Jaguars' ass. I want them to go kick the Tennessee Titans' ass and get this thing respectable before Baltimore shows them what a real team looks like.
Sean James says, no more guardrails for D'Amico, Caserio, and Stroud. It's year 3 together. The burners on their seats should now be turned on and get warm. I think it's only fair. And I go back to the last coach that spent over a year here, where Bill O'Brien wins the division title in 2016. He wins division title in 2018. He wins division title in 2019, and we got kind of tired of it. So just doing that is not enough. I also think it's very disingenuous to compare what the Texans were with Coley and Lovie Smith to where they are now. I mean, you went 2 years clearing up cap space and stockpiling assets. So if you're going to hang your hat on that, then you're never going to be disappointed. Do I think either one of these guys should be fired after this year? I don't. I don't think that should happen. But I do think we need to look at these guys a little bit closer for sure. I damn sure don't think Nick Caserio deserves an extension in season. I think there needs to be some sort of evaluation. I think that's a given. I think D'Amico, if the offense continues to look like this, he's really going to have to do some soul searching as to what the problem is. And as far as CJ Stroud goes, if we're talking about this, look, we assume that he's going to be one of the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the league. He's below Baker Mayfield right now. Like maybe the cost of doing business is the cost of doing business, but CJ Stroud's not even he's not performing regardless of the why, like a second tier quarterback. So that's just kind of where they're at. Now, maybe you look at that and it ends up expanding into a conversation about Caserio and D'Amico. But as far as what he's putting out there, he's not performing at the caliber of even a second tier quarterback right now. It's just where it is.
I have a small nobody's talking about that I think we need to follow over the course of the season.
Okay.
Coming off of this, and it applies to D'Amico, and I know that was about D'Amico and Stroud, and because it applies to D'Amico. Why didn't they blow out the entire offensive staff? Why didn't they blow out the entire offensive staff? They fired two guys. They fired two guys, brought in a new offensive coordinator.
Damn it, Bobby.
Promoted their assistant offensive line coach to head offensive line coach. It turns out communication's still a problem with the offensive line. And then they brought in a quality control coach from LA, brought him over because he also used to coach for the Patriots.
You know what I heard? And this is a theory that I actually, it sounds crazy, but it kind of made me think a little bit.
It was about why they didn't blow the whole coaching staff out?
No, I mean, in a different way, kind of.
Because like, yeah, wait, it looks a lot like last year's offense. Well, yeah, all the same coaches are the coaching. I mean, they changed the offensive coordinator, but it just, and I wonder if part of that was like, well, we don't want to change too much for some of these guys on offense. It's like, I don't know. Most teams, when they change offensive direction, they blow the whole staff out.
So I wanted McCown, but I'm fine with Kaylee. I like Kaylee. I like Josh McCown because I like how battle tested he is. And this isn't a Josh McCown. I promise I'm getting somewhere. Because I like how battle tested he is. I like the fact that at that point in his career, for like the last 8-10 years, he was basically an extra coach and an extra resource. Someone brought up to me that maybe Case Keenum was an important part of CJ Stroud's extra set of eyes when it came to his success in year one versus kind of the fall off in year 2 and 3. And I started thinking about it and I was like, okay, that's a little bit crazy. But we always hear that Case Keenum's basically an extra coach. We all agree that Case Keenum's eventually going to be a coach. So I do wonder, like, could Case Keenum have been like someone that just really was either able to calm him down? Because it's clearly something that's a thing with CJ Stroud. He's whiny on the sidelines. He's admitted that his body language is what it is. Like, did Case Keenum have like an ability to calm him down? Did Case Keenum have an ability when they're sitting down looking at cards to maybe see things that maybe Gerard Johnson doesn't see? Like, I do wonder if maybe there is something to that when it comes to, like, we say what changed and we talk about, well, the offensive line was depleted then and it's depleted now. And, you know, the situations are similar. I do wonder, because we always heard how important Keenum was. I do wonder if maybe Keenum was just kind of, his value is something that maybe was even higher than we thought. Don't know. I mean, that sounds crazy, but we're trying to solve a mystery that's just kind of crazy.
You're tugging at something that I think is actually pretty important. You've got to have additional resources in the building with your with your coaching staff. Like, you've got to have guys that can assist and help. Like, think of, like, you bring up McCown. Like, Kevin O'Connell doesn't have to have Josh McCown there, but he went and got him when he was available. Like, McVay's constantly bringing in guys from other places and adding them to the coaching staff on the offensive side and just creating like a little incubator of intelligence. And the Texans have Bill Lazor, who's never coordinated a good offense in his NFL career, but he's the senior offense. He's the old guy in the room that's been there, done that. Yeah, well, he's never really done it particularly well, but I'm glad he stayed on and had got an interview for the offensive coordinator position. And it's like they haven't added enough to the brain trust on offense because, you know, yeah, there's probably some things that Nick Caley's going to have to work through that's just up to Nick Caley to figure it out because he may not be able to rely on anybody in the building.
Back to the super chat. Can't believe this turned into a Case Keenum discussion. I hate myself right now.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Chase says the Daria obsession is embarrassing. Henry Toto pursuing is a problem. Seeking big hits over a tackle is more the overarching problem, in my opinion. No, I agree. Henry Toto does not wrap up on the football field. I can't speak to off the football field, but he does not wrap up. He is the Magic Johnson of tackling. Like when it comes to not wrapping up, it is awful.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are headhunting out there and not wrapping up.
The Agumbawale thing is just frustrating. Yeah, May 94 says Austin Deculus is 2-0. The Texans are 0-2.
No, come on. Come on.
Samson, he's just giving you facts, Cody. Samson says, shout out to special teams stepping up and giving us something to cheer for, staying positive on a rough day after. We'll do glass half full, glass half empty. We are a symbol of what the situation is with the Texans. We would love to talk about a win. I would take a Texans win over a loss any day of the week. It's better for all people involved. We're in it together no matter what. It's not optional. We're going to be covering it 24/7. But look, we want the dub too. Zach Rose. Zach Rose. He's got the essay. CJ is not who he thought he was. Defense is not elite. O-line is a dumpster fire. Kaylee was too hyped up. D'Amico is too friendly. No accountability. Offense is bland. Can't evaluate players. WTF are we doing? All right, I'm going to go through these and you say fact or fiction. You ready?
I'm ready.
Defense is not elite.
Fact.
O-line is a dumpster fire.
Fiction, it's worse.
Kaylee was too hyped up.
Fact.
D'Amico is too friendly.
Fact.
No accountability. Offense is bland.
Fact.
Can't evaluate players. WTF are we doing?
Partial fact. Pretty much fact.
Can't evaluate.
CJ's not who we thought he was. Fact.
King Holden says, damn it, Bobby. We're going to blame Bobby. Let's just blame Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby.
I blame Bobby for that fourth down. Preston, shout out to Preston.
I blame Bearded Bobby, a.k.a. Nick Cayley.
Preston, you better be at Spanky's in 2 Fridays, as should you all. Why we in bunch sets with 7 wide receivers on the depth chart spread the defense out. Nick Playcom. Well, 2 of the wide receivers aren't playing, in fairness. I don't know what this whole Justin Watson and Higgins lined up shoulder to shoulder by the line of scrimmage thing is. Like, they're almost playing like they have a bunch of tight ends and they're putting these guys close to the line of scrimmage. I'm very confused by that. Like, there's not that I don't know what's going on there. I don't get it.
And then they all run 12-yard routes and nobody's getting open, and CJ gets sacked, or CJ didn't see him, or when they're open, he doesn't make the throw. So
yeah, I don't
just all of it folds into itself into just being a crappy offense. It all just folds into itself. Stroud's gun shy, offensive line can't block, coordinators calling some curious stuff. It all just falls into itself.
Rich Boy Jay, this is deep, man. I did not plan on going here, but we're here. Rich Boy Jay on the suit. I gotta hit the sounder before this. I gotta gather my thoughts.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Shout out to everyone here on a Reaction Tuesday. D'Amico's never going to call timeouts on a potential game-winning drive. His attitude is if the defense can't stop him, we don't deserve to win. Yikes.
Felt that way last night.
Well, I mean, he just decided to call timeouts when the clock was already stopped. He didn't even care. That was pathetic, by the way. That was pathetic.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't give yourself at least 30 seconds to do something.
Nick Jones, who? He says, Gruden whispers are back, but honestly, we need Stefanski or Dayball to get fired to come consult this staff to run the damn offense. If Stefanski gets fired, God, someone's going to get lucky. He is a good coach.
If Stefanski gets fired, you're going to see him twice a year in Tennessee.
Yeah, he's a really, 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 really good coach.
And if Dayball gets fired, I mean,
you might see him as the OC. Casario might just say, hey, let's bring him in. Let's bring the band back. Reggie says, good morning, guys. Not going to lie. I was upset with CJ and I'm a fan. What gives me hope is that Josh Allen was not good his first 3 years. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's just, I mean, there was flashes. a lot higher level flashes than what CJ's done the past,
2.
19 games.
Justice for Slowick functions.
Let's see if Bearded Bobby can figure it out this weekend.
Dom in Jersey. He says, last one, how was the crowd last night? Slow start, but seemed like it was rocking on TV. There's one positive. Yeah, the crowd was great. Crowd was fantastic. Crowd put out a winning effort. They put out a winning effort. Little late arriving, but not really too late as much as we thought. The crowd was fantastic. Cannot knock the crowd. It was popping.
They were rewarded with the offense puking on itself, and now it'll be half full when the Titans game happens in 2 weeks.
Carlos says, guess that S2 test results might have been more accurate than initially reported. AA says, can we healthy scratch Dari instead of Damian and strip him of the C patch and just let Woody take all of Dari's steps? Look, I don't, the Dari thing, I'm done. I'm not dismissing you. It's frustrating. I don't get it.
Yeah, you can't keep putting him on the football field. I mean, Woody Marks is laying his body on the line to go out there and just get in the way of guys in the pass blocking reps, and Darius getting bowled over like he's a bowling pin.
And they have British Brooks just out there playing special teams. Like all the running backs are just playing special teams. Team player says, I need my little Woody on the field.
Yeah. 13 snaps.
AMAC 84. We have over 50 mil in dead money, over 30 mil tied to last year's O-line. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, they've got, how much money are they spending on the O-line this year? Because it feels like dead money currently on the roster. None of those guys are worth a cent.
ESG Soccer says CJ is not top 5 reasons we lost. All the expatriates frauds and the good old boy nepotism network is killing us. Also, those penalties have to improve. All right, let's see. Is CJ a top 5 reason they lost? I would say he's top 5. I would say based on the standards, he's got to be up there, top 5.
He's top 3 at worst.
Yeah, I would disagree with that. I would say he's definitely a top 5. Waylon says, give me 3, 13, and 1 with hope. CJ sucks.
Well, a tie? Oh, he's talking about a couple years ago. He wants to rewind to, I guess, the day D'Amico got hired and there was optimism and there was hope and the era of good vibes began. I see what he's saying now.
Dominic again says Will Anderson had 10 pressures, 1 sack. If he was going against Stroud, he would have had 6 or 7 sacks and he would have lost 100 yards. I agree. I think it's actually crazy how much better like Baker Mayfield is able to get away from pressure than a lot of quarterbacks, not just CJ. It's kind of something that he's pretty good at. Sometimes he'll run into it, but he's really good at it. Thought it was freaking phenomenal to see that Will Anderson had a career high 10 pressures and Baker Mayfield only allowed him to sack him once. I thought that was insanely impressive by Baker Mayfield.
All while they had their center playing left tackle, their backup right tackle, a practice squad left guard, and a backup center. And they still cobble it together.
Kevin Say says issues across the board, yes, but not taking RB seriously. I think single-handedly is the biggest sin. We won't recover from that. Cornerback in the third, though. ... Yeah, you know how I feel about the running backs. I think it's criminal, even if they had Mixon. The way that the way that they use the guys that they have and the way that they actively pursue it. Dietology says, is trading picks for an OL an option? If so, who? Probably not.
I mean,
D'Amico said he likes what they got.
He said we have the guys in the building to get this right. Paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. Like, okay, you want to go trade a draft pick for a guy, like it's 2 weeks into the season, nobody's jettisoning their guys just yet. Anybody that you can trade for right now is not worth a damn. So it's like, I just don't, that's not they had their chance to put different bodies on the offensive line, and instead they went bargain shopping, and they went and got a guy that for 3 consecutive years got worse at football in Laken Tomlinson, and spent a few $1 million on him. Jared Patterson is a career backup, and now he started in this one. Well, the guy
played okay. I thought he played okay for what you expect from him.
Yeah. Still, he's a career backup, and they've shown as much because they went out and added guys to beat him out. Ed Ingram's a reclamation project from another team. Titus Howard's playing right tackle only out of necessity. The team never planned to play him at right tackle. They ended up having to play him at right tackle because everybody else stunk. And then
who are communication issues on though? Like that's the other thing that I think is fair. And I'm a Spandeline says CJ needs coaching. I don't know what Gerard Johnson is helping with, but CJ, as I said last week, doesn't know when to step or how to get away from pressure. And then Johnny Lambeau follows up and says, that's what I've been saying. Top 2 QBs can get out of pressure. CJ folds and loses 10 to 13 yards. He has legs, but won't use them unless there's a clear yards of grass in front of him.
Yeah, when D'Amico Ryan said communication issues is the reason the offensive line couldn't block. How are you still having communication issues? These guys have been together since June, and he's got to go further and deeper in the clarification. So hopefully we get a clarifying element to that today.
Sports Talk with D says, can anybody remember the last time CJ had a good game? Some will say Chargers. I don't think he was fantastic. He had to play to Hutchinson. I don't think he was fantastic. He was okay.
The last time I can remember thinking to myself, man, CJ Stroud just had a performance that not many quarterbacks can have that performance, and was against Indianapolis at home last year when they had all the pressure and he was just running around like a madman making plays. And that was the last time it was like,
you know what was funny?
That's a unique, 1 of 5, 1 of 6 type of guy performance. And he hasn't done anything close to that since.
I thought the first half against Kansas City last year, not in the playoffs, but in the regular season, I thought he had one of his best drives of his career when he found Schultz, I think, on the touchdown. And then him and Tank were getting it going. Before that, they weren't, though. Who asked if he misses Tank Dell yesterday?
The Cron.com guy.
Man, that is some click chasing weird stuff right there. Like, because he wasn't even gelling. Like, him and Tank weren't even gelling before that KC game. Like, that is just a low hanging fruit Tank Dell question. That's weirdo stuff, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, that's they're chasing headlines over there. That's what.
They're just chasing. I mean, a lot of times chasing clicks is used loosely, but that's literally what they're doing. Like, they'll ask about flag football. That's just weirdo stuff. The fact that he's getting asked if he misses Tank. Sports Talk with D. Can anybody remember the last time CJ had a good game? We already talked about that. Zach says, thoughts on if Texans should have given Brian Gain a longer leash. He's enjoying life in Buffalo. I understand it's hypothetical. Wow, we're going back that far?
I mean,
he didn't deserve to get fired after an 11-5 season, but
no.
Yeah, and then Jack Easterby obviously stabbed him in the back. So
let's not over romanticize Brian Gain's time here either.
Yeah, that draft was bad. Defense playing 10. That was all Deshaun. Defense playing 10 yards off wide receivers in the last drive was frustrating. Seems like a yearly thing, going soft with the lead. That's not what lost it, but yeah, I mean, Henry Toto tackles, the defense was fine.
Well, yeah, and Bucky Irvin just blowing fools up all over the field. That didn't help.
Jacob says last week CJ said the offense was lollygagging during practice. This week they must have been dilly-dallying.
This is the like signs that are just like screaming at me that I don't want to give too much credence to because it's early, but at the same time, like some of the crap they've said through the first 2 weeks is stuff they were saying in week 15 and week 16 and week 17 of last year about the offense. Well, we had a good week of practice. We talked to Patterson on Friday or Saturday. We had a great week of practice. We really liked the way we had it practice this week. Came out, nothing looked different on the offense. Didn't matter how good a practice they had. Same issues as the previous week. And that was crap that Bobby and the offense was saying in 15 and 16 and 17 of last year. And it's just like that's screaming at me. Like that's still a huge issue where the outcome and the vibe and the feel of how they thought practice went actually had no bearing on how they actually perform on game day.
Yep. That would be a Fact, not great. Chance Harris on the soup says, so tired of Nick and D'Amico saying games are one lost on the last drive every game and ignoring the first 3 quarters where we can't sustain a single drive. They think games come down to one play. Yeah, a lot of times they end up doing that, but like at the end of the first half, if you urgently approach it, then who knows? Maybe you don't have to worry about that last play. So, yeah, I get it.
Or if you score from the 1 yard line with 3 opportunities.
We'll get to the positions. We'll get Cody's context. We'll play half full, half empty as well, as it is Reaction Monday. Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you. We have a comment from King Colby Gaming, 713 Gaming. He says, the fan base is so fair weather. SNL always feeds into the negativity. Good job, gentlemen. See, that's a whiny ass attitude, because I don't think anyone in the fan base, or I can't speak for everyone, if you're pissed, if you're not pissed off after this game, then you're just a weird. I mean, it's a weird thing to be happy about. Like we are a combination of entertainment and information, and we cover this team with as much integrity as possible. And if they deserve to get ripped, we rip them. If they deserve to get praised, we praise them. That's it. There's no like set in stone mindset. When you turn on SNL, you should get the information about the team, and you should get the pulse of the team through our eyes. If you're just gonna always, like, if you want to pump some sunshine into what happened yesterday, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem, because that is not holding them to a high standard, and that is a real problem. I would say you are part of the problem with what it's like, with what it's like for me when it comes to a fan. So
it's not how a king acts. It's not how a king acts, Colby. A king holds his subjects accountable.
And I bet Colby is a shitty gamer, to be honest with you. I bet he sucks. Preston says, bring Rick Smith back.
It is serious. Rick Smith never got another chance after the time.
We're going from Rick Smith to Brian Gain. Kevin.
You want Charlie Casserly back too? Somebody can super chat that?
It's really like we see wide receiver 5s, RB2s, T's, 3 score, TDs all weekend. Backup QB tossing 3+ TDs. We have to try. Now, in fairness, their tight ends have gotten depleted and they're missing some wide receivers. So they have 2 wide receivers out. They have 2 tight ends out. In fairness.
Boy, Harrison Bryant stinks.
Jesse F says, do you think the $4 million man, Nick Neiman, would have made that tackle against Baker? Oh, no.
I wish I could. I mean, I wish I, like, you're familiar with who Mr. Beast is. I wish I could call Mr. Beast. I say, hey, can you get me like one of those big tubs where you dump money in there, and we'll dump like 27 million of fake money in there, and you can just light it on fire, because that's about what Nick Caserio's done, just burning through cash that could have helped other places. Like over the course of the past few years, just burning through cash that could have helped other places. That's one more thing. Like, This is what I wanted to talk about here about the offensive line, and this is a good point, because we're talking about money and value and stuff. Laken Tomlinson makes $5 million. He's a left guard. Like, he wasn't good for the Jets 3 years ago. He wasn't good for the Jets 2 years ago, and he wasn't good for the Seahawks last year. They paid him $5 million, and he's not any good through 2 weeks. Okay, well, that's Laken Tomlinson. If they'd spent, I don't know, the $80 million over 4 years on one of these free agent guards, or, $10 or $11, $12 million a year on one of these free agent guards, I'd at least sit there and be like, well, they had a couple bad games. They didn't really play to the level that we know they can get to. Like, there's at least something there to look forward to. Example would be the guy that the Bears traded for, Jackson from the Rams. He was terrible in week 1. Really good in week 2. You know why? Because the guy showcased that he's been a good football player in the past couple of years. They don't have guys that have been good football players in the past couple of years on the offensive line. There's not if he just plays up to the level that he can actually play. No, there's no level to play up to. They're not good football players. It's a hopeless situation on the offensive line, because the general manager went out there and cheaped out on trying to fix it. He tried to do some bargain basement crap that didn't work. And now there's no hope on the offensive line.
Well, there's hope. It just has to be overcome in other areas. I mean, yesterday, special teams damn near won you a game. Defense is supposed to be your strength. You gave them a chance, and your quarterback had opportunities to make plays where they could have figured it out. So it goes back to the talk about reality and how you can handle games. But a lot of this stuff was well documented. Like, we talked about the O-line and kind of the honeymoon phase early on. You don't expect this O-line to be good. Is it fair that, CJ Stroud has to perhaps do a little bit more than quarterbacks in better situations have to do? I don't know if it's fair. It's just reality. But I do get what you're saying. My thing is, when we talk about investments, I agree with you on the O-line, but we've seen them invest a lot in the O-line. So it's kind of like, it's almost like you're letting them off the hook, Cody, if you say that, well, they half-assed I've heard you say this 100 times. You keep saying it. Well, they half-assed the offensive line. They brought a guy who sucks, and they brought in this guy, and da-da-da-da-da. I agree. But before that, they had one of the highest paid left tackles, one of the highest paid right tackles. They used multiple second-round picks, and they brought in Shaq Mason and made him one of the highest paid guards, and it still sucked. So, like, when I agree, like, I'm not agreeing with you. I'm almost agreeing with you, where I get what you're saying, but we've heard that these have been the same problems for a few years, and it's not like they haven't been investing at certain times.
Yeah, but the chances it works out for you when you invest in it is higher than the chances of bargain shopping.
Yeah.
So, again, it goes back to give yourself every opportunity. They didn't give themselves every opportunity. They went bargain shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, the situation they're in, is the same. The GM that bargain shopped is the same guy that drafted an unplayable interior offensive lineman that can't see the field in Juice Scruggs, and immediately unplayable in his second year after 7 games played last year, tackle that can't see the field in Blake Fisher. It's like, and then he had the nerve to tell you, well, we didn't really change anything in the way that we operate and we evaluate offensive linemen. And then in May, in front of fans, he said, well, we're not worried about it, so you shouldn't be worried about it. Well, still worried about it. Are you worried about it yet, Nick Caserio?
Yeah. It's just an evaluation thing as much as anything. I think it's just kind of, and I also think the quarterback can make the O-line better, and I don't know that the quarterback is doing that right now. Deshaun used to do that, man.
Sure.
I'm not sitting here like trying to cry. Like, we've had Rick Smith comments, we've had all this, but Deshaun used to make the O-line look better.
The running back can make them look better. A play caller can make them look better. The quarterback can make them look better. And more often than not, none of those guys are making them look better. And then they look bad on their own. On
the soup. Zinister says someone's been spiking CJ's Gatorade with estrogen. He needs to he needs an invite to Fight Club and a new testosterone supply. The dog in him has taken the shed. Yeah, he does seem defeated at times. He's talked about the body language. Dyson Fam says, does Snoop Dogg need to be at games for CJ? Don't know.
If that would help him.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
What's Snoop Dogg's pass set look like?
Sid says trade for starting caliber guard center, save the season, pay whatever it takes. CJ is the only good in a clean pocket. Timing, rhythm receivers can open quick.
There's just not, like, guys that are worth a damn aren't available. There's not a solution. There's not like you're going to battle with the guys that are in the building right now.
Yeah. Mushroom 713 last week lollygagging, this week gagging on the lolly. Goodness gracious.
Mushroom.
Dwayne Lewis says, who brings the championship back to the city first, Stros, Rockets, or Texans? Rockets probably have the best shot right now, right?
Yeah, Rockets have the best shot.
ESG Soccer says Stutz gets it. Terrible mismanagement of money, personnel, and picks. Caserio, typical New England guy who thinks he's smarter than everyone else. Now we're going to the
I mean, look,
the away thing.
Ursary had a great bounce back performance. It looks like they maybe have something there with him. A lot of people thought highly of him as a left tackle prospect, and when you know it, he's playing left tackle, and he looks like he's got a little bit of juice to him. So yeah, they got that, but 1 of 5 ain't going to do it.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Titus had that holding in the red zone that put him back behind the sticks, and Thomason's just terrible.
All right, so let's get Cody's context, the deeper meaning inside the game. Cody's context. Do we even have any context right now, or is it pretty cut and dry?
I can't remember a worse 10-snap performance than Daria Gumbawale's 10-snap performance on offense last night. Just, you've got one job, can't execute it. Horrible. And you can't pass block as the third down running back. You can't be on the field. And I understand that they like him and he's a captain, and he plays special teams and he does this and that and so on. That's fine. Don't put him on offense. Same thing I'd say with Jakob Johnson. It's like, yeah, he had the block punt. Cool. Make him a special teamer. Don't put him on offense. He was useless on offense. He's useless. And I can't figure out why, after having 2 seasons defined by young players immediately impacting the football game, 2 seasons absolutely fully defined by young players impacting the football game immediately, I cannot fathom why this team will not consistently give these young players opportunities to impact the game. Jalen Knoll has 15 snaps on offense. Jaden Higgins has 1 more snap than Justin Watson on offense. Woody Marks is not a consistent piece to this offense. Jalen Smith can't see the field for this defense. After watching young players help them for 2 consecutive seasons, now all of a sudden there is this just inability to get those young players on the field, despite the fact that when they are on the field, Woody Marks catching the football out of the backfield and Jalen Knoll with the ball in his hands, they make things happen. I don't understand it.
Yeah, the rookies don't know anything appears to be a thing. It just appears to be a thing.
Well, I mean, a guy with a New England history shows up, starts calling offense, and all of a sudden the young guys can't get on the field. I mean, I guess it's maybe just a coincidence.
Yeah, it does appear to be a little bit BOB, but yeah, Mr. Finger Gun says it is massively concerning. Stroud missed Watson on that 3rd and goal when we kicked the field goal to get 10. I feel like most QBs in the league hit that pass, or at least give him a chance to catch it. There were a couple of times, and the Nico on the 4th down, there were a couple of times where the receiver doesn't even have a chance to go up and make the play. I don't know if he's just aiming too hard. I don't know if he's just overthinking it, but accuracy is supposed to be one of CJ's strengths, is clearly not there. Hayden Court says, sure hope McNair heard those boos and decides to take appropriate actions. What are the appropriate actions? What would the appropriate actions be this early?
I'm assuming Hayden wants D'Amico Ryans fired. That'd be my guess. But that seems like an inappropriate action to take this early in the season.
Yeah, if a coach got fired every time there was boos, then that would be a little bit.
And it's not like they hire and fire the offensive coordinators.
Yes. That is 100% a fact. So let's go position by position. Or do you want to play half full, half empty first?
No, let's go position by position.
All right, we'll go position by position. Let's start with the CJ Stroud outlook. And we've spent a lot of time on CJ Stroud. The CJ Stroud outlook after this game and after 2 games into the season.
Yeah, confidence is shot. He's gun shy. He's not making throws that he should make, and it's not been good enough from the quarterback. There's not really much to sugarcoat. The stuff that CJ Stroud's in control of, he's not doing a good enough job.
Yeah, I would say this was one of his worst games. And all the excuses that you give CJ, Baker Mayfield could have the exact same excuses, and Baker Mayfield was able to overcome it and figure it out. And right now, I feel if you switch the quarterbacks yesterday and you put Baker Mayfield on the Texans and you put CJ Stroud on the Bucks, I feel like Will Anderson probably has 4 sacks instead of 1 on his 10 pressures. And I feel like the Texans win the game, and it, quite frankly, isn't close. That's just how I feel. I can't help it. That doesn't mean it's a finished product. That's just how I feel. Running back thoughts. I'll start this one. The share is ridiculous. The whole share when it comes to Dare Ogunbowale getting the same amount of share and workload as Woody Marks, it makes no sense. It was obvious that Woody Marks needed to be a part of things more than he was. And we saw a little bit of it. We saw the 37-yard catch. We saw the Nick Chubb screen. The running back use is crazy. Bringing Dare Ogunbowale in on the 1-yard line is pointless. Like, what more do you need? He fumbles away a game. He's unable to pass protect. Him not being able to pass protect is like CJ Stroud not having a right arm. Like it is like there's not like if Dare Ogunbowale can't pass protect, what is he doing? So they got to figure that out when it comes to the running back situation.
It's like having a blind barber.
It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. The wide receivers, I really don't think I can be too critical of them because I think it goes back to the fact that they're not really using Higgins and they're not really using Knoll. And for some reason, they like to play the vets as opposed to the rooks, but you use 2 premium picks on wide receivers. And for some reason, despite the fact they practice well and they show stuff and they've kind of shown some stuff, they've kind of shown some stuff in stretches. The fact that they don't play is crazy. So I almost give the wide receivers an incomplete.
Yeah, I mean it's tough to be critical of the wide receivers because there's definitely moments where they're out there and they're open, and for it's maybe a CJ situation or maybe it's a offensive line situation, they're not getting the ball, and so it's just not good enough.
Tight ends.
I mean,
injuries are a part of this, but
was Dalton caught in traffic? Was he not available to them early in the game?
nah, he made a couple plays. He got down to the 10 on the 1 before the stall, and there were a couple times where CJ missed him.
Yeah,
but it feels like when he gets the opportunities, Dalton Schultz has kind of made plays. It's just the opportunities are kind of scarce. Maybe that goes back to the quarterback.
Yeah, and then Harrison Bryant. I mean, the one thing I can remember from him yesterday is I saw him flat on his back when a Buccaneer defender just pancaked his ass. So
not great.
Not great.
Offensive line thoughts on the O line.
I mean, I liked Ursreed. Ursreed had a much better performance this week than he did last week. But the other 4 guys weren't anywhere near as good as they need to be. I mean, Laken Tomlinson is they need to think about playing Drew Scruggs. That's how bad Laken Tomlinson is. And it's not getting any better from Laken Tomlinson. And
I did not have a Drew Scruggs thing in my
on your bingo card.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to think about playing Drew Scruggs at left guard. Because it's not you can't go out there, you can't be the veteran, you can't be the steady guy, you can't be he's played so much football and then have that performance. I mean, he just guys I've never heard of are giving those guys work. It's not like it was like Kalijah Cansey just like picking guys up and moving them out of the way. It's like it's dudes I've never heard of who are depth pieces on the Buccaneers out there giving the interior line work. Jesus. And then they were totally lost on some of this blitz stuff. I mean, it's a great job by Todd Bowles to just realize they weren't going to be able to handle it and just keep sending bodies from all over the place.
Defensive line thoughts. I'll start this one. I think the edge guys were good. I think Sheldon Rankins was the only DT that was good, that was solid. I don't pride myself on being a film watcher, but it did feel like Foley Fatukasi was at my 8th grade dance, dude. and he was definitely getting down to the song of the song of the dance when I was in 8th grade, for sure. Juvenile, back that ass up. That dude was, I mean, it looked like early on that Fatakasi was getting pushed back like a blocking sled.
I mean, the shopping cart with a funny wheel puts up more resistance than him. Like
here's the other thing I wonder about that. And I know D'Amico's going to look extra close at the defense because that's what he does. That's his specialty. I mean, you got this guy who you've labeled the most consistent guy on the team. You liked him enough to give him a contract extension, and he can't be active because you have Mario Edwards and Foley Fatakasi on your football team?
I'm so glad you brought up Mario Edwards' name. Because I wasn't sure he played last night.
But I saw the red elbow pads. The only reason I know is because he wears those big-ass red elbow pads.
Mario Edwards played 26 snaps last night at defensive tackle. He did not appear in the box score. He did not have a hurry. He did not have a tackle for a loss. He did not have a tackle. He did not have an assist. He didn't have a sack. He had 0 stats.
Jeez.
And this is the one of the most expensive defensive tackles in the room. And he was 0 impact on the game.
Yeah, he did not look good.
It's almost like you probably shouldn't have signed a journeyman defensive tackle as a solution for your defensive tackle situation.
Yeah, the upside's wild. I don't really understand what's going on there.
Like give me 3 Togi eyes versus what Settle, Edwards, and Fatakasi did last night.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thank God Sheldon Rankins is on this team, or they'd be totally lost.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been good. I got to give it up for him. But it did look like, and again, they're going to watch the tape, but it did look like Fatakasi was getting completely just pushed back.
The path of least resistance included Foley Fatakasi. And Will's got to stop. And one more thing about Will Anderson, because we talk about standards. For 2 years, Will's been an excellent run stopper. Will's got to stop taking himself out of the plays on run plays. He's just firing past everything.
He's doing the JJ Watt,
and they're content to just let him go, and he doesn't affect the play.
Linebacker thoughts. I thought Aziz had some good moments. He dropped the interception, which was the one gift. Christian Harris is still a non-factor. EJ Speed had some good special teams moments. Damn near was in there on the pump block, had the lick on the kickoff. Henry To'oTo'o, God bless him, but he does not wrap up. If he just has any ounce of control on that Baker Mayfield 4th down, he figures it out. And then he gives them an extra 10, 15 yards at the end of the game, not wrapping up. This was a bad day for Henry To'oTo'o, although he's still solid, but it would just be really nice if Christian Harris could show some sort of signs. And I don't know, like maybe you have to give a little to get something out of Christian Harris, but it can't be much worse than what To'oTo'o gave you at the end of that game. Like maybe you got to figure something out. Maybe they just need. There were more 3 linebacker sets, but it's an unflattering position right now outside of Aziz.
Yeah, and then there's still a couple of times here, and I know it's worked out okay, but like the dam's gonna break eventually. Like you can't have Henry ending up in coverage on some of these good wide receivers. Like Baker missed Emeka Egbuka on a play where Henry ended up in coverage on him. So like you've got to. I know it's going to happen sometimes, but you've got to limit it as much as you can.
And then we go to the DBs. I thought Stingley was fine. He held up. There was a few plays here and there, nothing crazy. Lassiter still very physical.
Mm-hmm.
Bullock seems like his eyes still get lost. That was one of the things, the eye discipline that they talked about. It feels like that's kind of reared its ugly head a couple times. There was a trip on the touchdown to Egbuka. It looked like there was just missed tackling. Charlie Heck just stuck his. I mean, he kicked the guy, and there was a fall down. So The DBs, not great, but not terrible. CJ Gardner-Johnson, not awesome. I thought his moment with Will Kunkel yesterday was so funny, where Will Kunkel said, how are they able to stop the run? And CJ Gardner-Johnson goes, did you watch the same game I did? And he goes, if they had a good run, then more power to them. And then after the media scrum, Will Kunkel goes, I asked you it because it was 5 yards a pop. And he goes, oh, sometimes when you're out there, you don't notice.
Yeah. Irving ended with 4.2 yards per carry. Probably could have been more. And then Rashad White ended with 6.5 yards per carry. And then obviously Mayfield scrambles, you don't always count that, but the running backs were just tearing through that defense at times. Lassiter's physicality is refreshing. He came up and made some plays on Irving on some of the stuff that they were trying to bounce outside. And CJ Gardner-Johnson he didn't think they were getting run through out there.
No, he did not.
And I'm sorry, Ryan Miller should not be beating Kalen Bullock for a touchdown. Like if Ibuka beats him or Mike Evans beats him, or like Sterling Shepard because he knows Baker Mayfield and their buddies, like sure, Ryan Miller should not be beating a safety that you feel good about for a touchdown.
Here was the previously mentioned interaction. This is from Aaron Wilson's Twitter. I was to the left. You'll hear me ask a Baker Mayfield question, but this was CJ Gardner-Johnson. And wait for this Will Kunkel moment. It's only a couple minutes. Here we go. Props to him for stepping up though and talking after, which you're supposed to do. But yeah,
tough loss. You guys played well.
Say it one time.
A tough loss. You guys played well. Close game. What do you feel like you guys needed to do to be able to close these guys out?
We get back to the drawing board. I'll get back to the drawing board. Not what I'm used to, but close game, good team. You gotta just focus in. These type of games you got to pull off at home. And we beat ourselves. A couple of plays here and now that it probably not saying other than the end. Probably as players, we probably got to lock that a little bit more. Coach put us in position. We got to go out there and finish those games.
Did you guys feel fresh at the end? The time of possession was about 2-1.
It was good. It was rolling. It's just like I said, these are games as young guys, fighting adversity, understanding that. Got a tune out crowd. Not saying we're tuned in. You got to go out there and finish. It's one of those games that doesn't make or break you as a team, but it defines you later on down the road. So you got to get better.
0-2. Where does this team go from here? As you guys trying to turn the page?
wait for Kunkel.
15 weeks left, right? Wait for keep playing. Season ain't over. I remember I've been with a team. We started off 2-2. Everybody thought the city was falling through. So just continue to play ball. Trust the coaches like we've been doing. Trust the scheme and understand that they're here for us. And we don't nobody get discouraged out. In this room, nobody get discouraged. Like this locker room, we trust each other. We understand that it's a tough fall game. Just finish.
What allowed them to have so much success on the ground running the ball tonight?
You watch the same game I watched? I don't remember nobody breaking, but if they had a good time on the ground, shoot, kudos to them. Next question.
Did it just the mentality on that last drive? What were you guys trying to do to close?
I asked the Baker question.
Win the game. Coach put us in position. We got to win the game for the coaches and the fans, and there's nothing really more, harm on. Get to the film tomorrow, dissect it, or get back on Wednesday when you're ready to road to Jacksonville, right? So,
all right. Well, I guess Aaron didn't want the Baker thing in there. CBS took that video, by the way.
You gotta have the dang wherewithal to know that Bucky Irvin's getting pretty much whatever he wanted.
In fairness, he did ask after. He said, yeah, okay. I guess I just didn't notice.
Did Kunkel turn red and start steaming at the ears like a cartoon character when?
No, he just said, Kunkel just flat out said, he said, yeah, it was 5 yards a pop. That's why I asked. So there we go. We'll get to half full, half empty in a sec. Texans fall to 0-2. D'Amico Ryan's going to speak today onto Jacksonville. Let's go to average fan on Z Soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Why don't we see Speeder Harris on the field over Toa? LBs were bad yesterday, mainly Henry and Aziz. I don't know. I don't really have a problem with the linebacker rotation. I would like to see more Harris because I think the upside is up there, is pretty high. But I don't think anything crazy about that.
I mean, Christian Harris's face mask to give the Buccaneers life on a drive where they were pinned deep was not great. So that was tough to deal with, and it must just be a trust factor. They just must not trust those guys to be on the field as much. But you know, they started to shut down that run game a little bit when they put you know who we haven't talked about?
Yeah.
You know who you haven't talked about?
Who?
Jalen Petrie. When's the next time he's going to get home on a blitz? Because that's basically all they did with him yesterday. Once he got back in the game, they just blitzed him. When's the next time he's going to get home on a blitz? He's not fast enough to blitz. He can't cover. He's like a small linebacker.
He's just there. He's a tweener. And a lot of times when a tweener, there's two different ways of being a Swiss Army knife or a tweener. It either means you're really good at a lot or you're not good at a lot. Like there's combinations, and I think the limitations are what they got. And that's the weirdest fall in love that we've seen was the Petrie situation. I feel like they have to juggle it. There was one play in this game, and the consequences weren't as high as they were against the Rams, but this was one of the things we looked at. There was one play in this game, and I know what play you know what play I'm talking about, where Sterling Shepard, the ghost of Sterling Shepard, is lined up wide left, and Jalen Petrie is there, and Baker Mayfield might as well have turned his back on this half of the field because he was going to Sterling Shepard no matter what. If he's doing that with Sterling Shepard and other quarterbacks catch on to this, then there's no limitations to how much quarterbacks are going to seek out Jalen Petrie. He was going to Sterling Shepard no matter what. And
another thing that we were worried about with the Jalen Petrie playing this position is durability. And he got hurt in this game and had to come out. And, but it's a good thing he got a contract extension.
Yeah, he did. Jesse F on the soup says, go ahead.
The next time he gets home on a blitz, the next time Jalen Petrie blitzes and gets home for a sack, the next reaction show, I'll do a 4-ounce shot of apple cider vinegar.
Oh, wow. So if Jalen Petrie gets a sack.
He gets a sack on a blitz, I'll do a 4-ounce shot of apple cider vinegar.
Okay. Dial it up, D'Amico. Jesse says, imagine a king clown talking trash about a man's career and fan base on his channel, your gaming channel since 2013, 5 subs, 100. What are we talking? Is this a side chat?
Jesse F went and said, take that for data. Jesse, we appreciate the super chat. Y'all don't have to give stuff like that attention.
Yeah, you're okay, man. ESG Soccer says, I appreciate you. Houston Texans, Nick Caserio not concerned about offensive line, May 22nd, 2025. How is GM not an issue? Our offensive problems are New England jabronis. No, I would agree with you. I think that the evaluation is all Nick Caserio. Like the offensive line evaluation is all Nick Caserio. He can't escape that.
Keep the scouting staff small and keep promoting everybody though.
Trill Kick X. They need Hannah on the headset. She wants to. You want her to go Ursay? I wouldn't put it past her to have it tapped.
That Ursay gal.
It's getting a lot of run, man.
She looks like she does not. She looks like she does not take crap off of anybody. So I would not. I would not cross her if I was somebody over in the Colts organization.
AA says, "Oh no, we suck again." Rob Schneider voice.
Oh no, we suck again.
Ranji Harrell says, "Take away Nico, and everything around CJ is terrible. Sterling Shepard will be the number 2 wide receiver on this team." LOL, JK. I mean, he might be. He's a veteran. You already got the upper hand.
Yeah, you're not allowed to play young guys. So
Yeah, so you might. I mean, you're joking, but I mean, you might be right. I don't think they like playing young guys.
Yeah.
So you could be right. Rich Boy Jay says, "Can we please stop the Petrie blitzes? For the past 2 years, he never gets home, and we always give up. He can't blitz. He can't cover. He's like he's a linebacker." He's a linebacker who doesn't really cover that good for a linebacker, and he's a corner who has no chance. And he's kind of by the way, he got banged up again. Like that was the other part of the contract that you and I spoke on was, first of all, by the way, have you seen Andrew Makuba play for the Eagles?
Freak.
Yeah, he might. They might have known what they were doing there. But this was the other problem is when you're small and you're playing close to the line of scrimmage, a lot of times it's hard to stay healthy and you get banged up. And that's kind of happening. But the Petrie thing is it's fascinating that he didn't have to earn the deal. But it is what it is. Anyway, let's go half full, half empty. Week 2. This is where we load the glass half full and we load the glass half empty. Do we want to start half full? Or do we want to start half empty and just kind of reset what we've been talking about and just throw the empty out and end on a positive note?
Yeah, I think there's actually a few full things I'd like to get to eventually, but let's get to the empty parts first.
All right, obviously CJ's got to be better. The offensive line stinks. Nick Caley has a lot of Bill O'Brien and New England blowhard tendencies. Henry To'oTo'o needs to wrap up, and the Texans got to take advantage of opportunities. So that's my half empties, which we've been emphasizing for a while.
Yeah, the defense has got to wrap up a little bit better. They got to quit allowing the aggression to get used against them. Jalen Petrie's got to actually get home on a blitz, and they got to average more than 1 yard per carry outside of 2 Nick Chubb runs.
Yes. Now, let's get to the half full. I'm intrigued to hear where you go in this direction. Let's go the half full.
Ariante Ursary bouncing back is huge because you couldn't have 5 duds on the offensive line. That would have sucked. So him bouncing back is really big and really important. And this is a guy that's going to get a crack at being your franchise left tackle for the rest of this season and the seasons going forward. So him bouncing back is really big. I'll go with another young guy. Jaden Higgins, when he gets the ball, looks like he knows what to do with it. So, but it's apparently tough to get him the ball. Jalen Noel, when he gets the ball, it looks like he knows what to do with it when the ball gets in his hands. It's not like he hadn't been a dynamic element of Iowa State's offense for the better part of 3 seasons. But getting him the ball on offense seems like it's an impossible feat, an impossible task. So, but Noel looked good with the ball in his hands. Same thing with Woody Marks. When he got the ball in his hands, wow, this is crazy how this is all kind of building on itself. Looks like he knows what to do with the ball in his hands. Absolutely laid his body on the line for a pass blocking rep that was incredible, that saved the play. Don't know the last time Dario Gumwali did that. And yes, I really liked a lot of these rookie performances within this game. And that's something that hopefully they can get more and more and more. And you see, as they get on the field more, you get a lot more out of those players. So I really like that. Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson were pressure monsters again. They should be as backup tackles. And Sheldon Rankins had a nice little, performance reminiscent of Sheldon Rankins from a couple of years ago. So there was, some bits and pieces from this that were nice that you could maybe build on some of that stuff.
Yeah, I would say there's personnel hope on the offense where if Nick Caley knows what the hell he's doing and he figures it out, he might be slow to figure it out, but if he can start maybe getting Jaden Higgins more than 4 targets through 2 games, maybe this is a CJ thing. I think there's potential. I think Jalen Noel, I think if you can get him the football in space, it feels like he can maybe do some things. Like, I don't know. It seems like he's kind of fast and maybe you can figure something out there. Woody Marks might be your best running back Like he might be your best running back. And quite frankly, I think with what Nick Chubb does and what Woody Marks does, if you make this more of a healthy balance, I think you can potentially have a pretty good two-piece combo. So that's the good news for the offense. The other thing is this. Maybe Christian Kirk is as important to this offense as important to this offense as Joe Mixon was last year. And maybe Christian Kirk will be some sort of savior.
Oh boy.
So there's that. And I still think your defense is good.
Yeah, the defense, like that's another thing too, is like it doesn't feel like last week where it's like, man, I feel kind of dirty for talking about the defense because they had some bad moments, but like they spent the better part of 35 minutes not allowing points. Now I know they needed a kicker to miss in that moment to not have points get put on the board. Like the defense, they gave up 2 touchdown drives, and then for 35 minutes they didn't allow points. Like that should be enough. And then mistake here, mistake there, try to seal it. They can't seal it. And yeah, the elite element of the defense didn't show up this week. It's just a good defense this week. They still give you a good crack at winning every week with their, even where their floor is. It's just their ceiling may need to be a little bit higher to overcome some of the challenges of the offense. There's still really good pieces to this defense.
Yep, 100,000%. So that's where they go. They go on to Jacksonville. What's your confidence level in the Texans versus the Jags? Jags got some problems. Brian Thomas got a wrist injury. Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen, they've had their moments. They just lost to Jake Browning, who threw a few interceptions. So the Jags got issues.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'd worry about here with like the Jaguars is I wonder if they had like a little bit of like an inflection point where everybody just kind of says, okay, let's calm down. We've got what we need here. We just need Trevor to hit a couple more throws and then the defense, to make a few more plays. Like I wonder if they can look at, I know that it didn't go well for them and they lost, but I wonder if they can look around the room and be like, hey, like this feels better than last year. This feels better than some of those disappointing years we've been around this organization. Whereas like even after like, damn, that one should have got away. Like that one got away from us. Like Liam Cohen could be like, yeah, look, guys, we're so close to being a much better football team. Like I almost wonder if they could catapult off of their situation if Cohen is as good of a coach as I think he can be. It's like that's a little like you might get like a little like feeling themselves Jaguars in this matchup.
Chance Harris says, can we name a team that's won a Super Bowl with a bad or even mediocre O-line? Our formula can't win a championship. A bad or mediocre O-line.
Well, it's not the Eagles from last year.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. That's elite.
It's not the Eagles from last year. The Chiefs a couple years ago were really good. So there's 2. The Rams had an excellent offensive line the year they won. The Buccaneers had a great offensive line the year they won. Kansas City, New England. Like, I mean, you typically have good offensive lines.
Typically.
Yeah. They don't have to be great, but they typically have good offensive lines.
I guess Cincinnati was close. And the one that they lost.
For sure. Close. For sure.
That was probably the closest thing that we saw.
Yeah. And there have been times where, maybe a certain player, like a left tackle or right tackle, is like not the best player in the world, but like as a group, as the cohesion, they made it work. But typically you have good offensive line play if you're a good football team.
Yeah. No doubt. On to Jacksonville. Tonight on the locker room stream, I'm going to go through the state of the Texans in relation to the rest of the league. I'm assuming that Indianapolis will come up, who, by the way, Shane Steichen has as many regular season wins in his 36 games as D'Amico Ryans does in his 36 games, regular season. And he was a drop pass away from having a division title with Gardner Minshew. So I don't know much about Daniel Jones. I do know he's probably the best quarterback Shane Steichen's had at Indianapolis, which when you put that in perspective, for all the bitching we've done about CJ Stroud today, probably makes you feel a little bit better. It could be worse, or it makes you feel worse. I don't know. The quarterback situation could be a lot worse, but man.
Yeah, the Colts situation is interesting because the Texans don't catch them until basically December. And so, like, we'll have a much better understanding of what the Colts are if Daniel Jones turned back into a pumpkin at the quarterback spot. Like, the guy's never been consistently good at quarterback. Like, he's had stretches and moments, but he's never been a consistently good quarterback. So the problem is the rest of that team is really well built. He's got a lot of options at wide receiver. His running back is incredible. The offensive line is enough, and they've got some things on defense that you can like. You know, they gutted out that win against a very good Broncos team, missing one of their best pass rushers and one of their best cornerbacks.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Chance Harris says, can we name a team that's won a Super Bowl with a bad or mediocre O-line? I already read that. Repeating myself like Mike Jones. Von Clutch says, it'd be just our luck. We throw a pick to Eric Murray. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Eric Murray.
I was going to say the interceptable balls, but Levante David dropped one that hit him in the numbers. So that's not good.
Julian Gonzalez says, if the offense stalls in week 3, do we consider putting Mills in briefly to try to look for a spark? Oh, my God. Currently suffering post-prime time depression. I understand, my friend. I don't think it's going to get to that point. Are you thinking about this?
No, you've got to just let CJ Stroud go out there and just
he's
let
got
it
to
be.
do his thing. You got to let him do his thing.
Yeah.
So no, my answer would be no.
You either fail with that guy or you succeed with that guy.
Doyle says, at what point do people realize the New England system and coaches are mid AF and their success was all Tom Brady? I think that's kind of been realized. Right?
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been realized.
Yeah. I guess he's asking for they like, who was the other like candidate that they just absolutely missed on in the search?
The McCown train.
They never even talked to him.
The McCown train.
And they interviewed Bill Lazor, Gerard Johnson. They interviewed that ball boy from the Vikings. It's not, I know a lot of people were Chip Kelly fans. They scored 9 points last night, so miss me with the chip.
Yeah. Anyway. Do we have anything else we want to add before we get out of here and we get ready for the Texans Collective? 6:00 today, by the way. If you haven't subscribed to Texans Collective, I think we're already 1K deep at least. Myself, Cody, Sean Pendergast, Reginald Atatula. We'll try to expand the conversation. And I always enjoy hearing their perspective. So we got that. Got a stream at 10:30. We got D'Amico Ryans. What time is he talking? I haven't even looked at the media availability yet.
Noon, I believe.
Okay. He's going Zoom?
Correct.
Okay. So we got that. And life goes on. That's the beauty of football. Fluid process. You get the reaction and then you move on to the next one. And you always got a shot. They did go 0-2 to start a couple of years ago, ended up winning the division. The division is still extremely winnable. You haven't faced any teams in your division. So that's the good thing. That's the good news. Bad news is I don't think just winning the division was the goal this year. So your goals are still in front of you. Not a good start and lots to talk about over the course of the day on a Reaction Tuesday. AMAC84, one more soup, says, no matter what, I'm a Texans fan. Mistakes and all go Texans. Respect. Never, ever Pandaline. What is that?
Whoa.
What is that?
Is he taking a shot at Panda?
You feel better. What are we doing there? What are you taking shots at the Panda? What is that? I never even heard of that.
Yeah, the 0-2 teams don't make you feel like I understand the Chiefs are also 0-2. Mostly bad football teams are 0-2.
Yep. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to ride along. Be sure to subscribe to the collective. Join us at 6 as well as in the locker room at 10:30. And always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.
I need to brush my teeth.